Namaskar. Today I will talk about Sustainable Development Goals, commonly known as SDGs. My name is Ritesh Kumar Singh, an ex-civil servant. Let us start this with a very meaningful question. What is the meaning of development? Is development linked only with economic growth? Is it linked only with expansion of GDP or construction of roads, highways or infrastructure projects? No, not at all. Because development has got a very wider meaning and these are just one of the indicators of development. Development includes social development, means broad upliftment of society, economic development, increasing the incomes and purchasing power of the people, freedom, political rights and environment conservation. This broader meaning of development was given a final shape in United Nations General Assembly in 2015 as Agenda 2030, commonly known as Sustainable Development Goals. Why we require all these goals for the entire world? So as to create more peaceful, prosperous and inclusive world. So let us understand what are these goals, what are the number of goals, are there connections between all these goals or not. Let's start the video with the first goal in front of you. But before that, let us see the image of Sustainable Development Goals which is broadly available on Google. So this is an image which you may have seen. There are 17 goals. The image you may have seen, but you must not be able to remember all the 17 goals, may not be able to understand the interrelationship between all these goals. So let us understand all these goals one by one. So in the picture, the first goal is no poverty. So let's start with the first. So what is the first goal? Is elimination of poverty from the face of this earth. So what is the sustainable goal? Is elimination of poverty. So keeping the people in poverty is not sustainable goal, but pulling out the people from poverty is a sustainable goal. So hence, poverty to be sustained? No, not at all. Now in India, 80 crore people are dependent upon rations. So 80 crore people depend upon ration. This to be sustained or means making them self-reliant. That has to be sustained. So this is not the right way forward for elimination of poverty. Dependency of the people on the food rations is not the way of eliminating poverty. So hence a big no here. So what is actually required is bringing people out of poverty should be sustained. Yes. Why? Because empowered citizen is a sign of a successful democracy, not dependent citizens. So empowered citizen is a sign of successful democracy. Now when we are reducing poverty, it gives rise to what other benefits. For example, poverty can give rise to what? A scenario of zero hunger. So goal number 2 is zero hunger. There is malnutrition, there is undernutrition, there is stunting, there is wasting, imbalanced nutrition. Are these to be sustained? No. So what to be sustained is balanced nutritional intake, adequate nutrition. So here malnutrition, stunting, wasting to be sustained? No. But what to be sustained? Adequate nutrition and nutrition balance. Now when we are promoting adequate nutrition and nutrition balance, it improves the ranking in global hunger index. So rise in the ranking has to be sustained. So improvement in the ranking in global hunger index. Now the next thing which is the goal is after nutrition is the promotion of good health and well-being. So goal number 3 is good health and well-being. Yes, cost-effective and speedy healthcare is a requirement by all of us, because we know when you talk about the healthcare in our country, it's mostly what out of the pocket expense. Private healthcare is very, very expensive. It's not afforded by maximum people. Now even right to health can be converted into fundamental right. We all know that right to education was included as a fundamental right under Article 21. So even right to health can also be included. So hence, cost-effective speedy healthcare should be made sustainable or goal for all of the people by converting that into a fundamental right. So cost-effective healthcare can be included as a fundamental right. Yes. Recently, right to health bill was passed by government of Rajasthan. We have seen what enormous protest by the private doctors, because we know their major focus is extracting as much money from the people. But in various parts of the world, various countries, healthcare is a social service. For example, a country like Cuba. That means we require the support from the public health system as well as the private health system for promoting cost-effective and speedy healthcare, bringing good health and well-being to all. So what is required here is reach, efficiency and effectiveness of public health system and supportive private healthcare. These are the requirements. And what is also required is increasing health budgets on annual basis. So this is again to be sustained. This is a sustainable goal. Now after health, we know the next thing that becomes important is education. So quality education. Even our national education policy of 2020 speaks and emphasizes on quality education. Let's see. So quality education is a basic right of each and every child. So this has to be sustained. This is a sustainable goal, extending quality education. But again, when you talk about quality education, which is a basic right of each and every child, so basic right of each and every child. So each and every child can only afford quality education only if it is funded by public education system, not by private education system, which is again very expensive. So what is required is substantial investment in public education system. What should be increased? Yes, again the policy talks about at least 6% GDP should be going to education. This has to be sustained in terms of regular increase in annual budgetary support to education. Hence, sustained increase in education budget, this has to be sustained. This is a sustainable goal. Now, further, when we talk about the goal number 5 is talking about gender equality. Now, the humanity can progress when all the genders are given what equal weightage, all the genders are given what equal opportunities. Then a collective approach will be shaping the destiny of the humanity in a better way, in more inclusive thoughts and approaches, and definitely in a very fast tracking manner. So hence what is required, what has to be sustained? Well, sustainable development goal here is women empowerment. So women empowerment is sustainable development goal. And let's take a quote from what Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, what he says that I measure the progress of a community by the degree of progress which women have achieved. That means humanity's progress is based on the progress made by its women, because women constitute half the population, so they should not be left behind. And when we talk about the third gender, transgenders, yes, so there is a bill in place, Transgender Persons Protection Rights Bill 2016. Yes, we require to focus on transgender rights also, gender equality. Now let's see the next goal. Next goal is, yes, clean water and sanitation. Now why clean water is required? Why accessibility to clean water is required, especially when we talk about rural areas? In rural areas, most of the water fetching responsibility lies with women. And when the water sources are not nearby, so they have to travel long distances, it leads to huge drudgery. Yes. And finally, exploitation of what female labor is being done. Friends, again for empowerment purpose, clean water, access to clean water becomes very important. Hence, rainwater harvesting, yes, it should be promoted. For example, Government of India launched Amrit Sarovar Mission. That means 75 water bodies to be built or revived in each and every district. We require proper rainwater harvesting. At least it should be reaching in each and every village, making not only the villages water self-sufficient, but also drought-proofing the entire country. Pipe water supply, yes. And we require what? Yes, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So proper and clean toilets. Again, a big yes here. So availability of proper toilets means they should not be dry toilets. They should proper sewage system, septic tank system, running water supply, and clean toilets should be available at regular intervals. So clean water and sanitation is the goal number 6. Now let's talk about the goal number 7. Affordable and clean energy. So we are living in an industrial world. We are mostly dependent upon fossil fuels. Is the reliance on fossil fuels will be sustained? No. We have to transition from fossil fuel to green economy. That has to be sustained. That is our sustainable development goals. So transition from fossil fuel to green economy. This is the sustainable development goal. Not just relying on the fossil fuel extraction more and more. Hence, the focus areas are solar, wind, hydro, ocean, biofuel, and these are the areas to invest more and more, so that new technologies are being developed and they become affordable. So that is sustainable development goal. The next is decent work and economic growth. So decent work and economic growth starts with dignified livelihoods. Now what is the meaning of dignified livelihoods? The meaning of dignified livelihoods is when the people are able to break away from the caste or gender imposed occupations, where variety of what work is being created, where the people are not just dependent upon society enforced livelihoods. So dignified livelihoods, this has to be converted to a sustainable goal. There should be labor welfare. So all the working areas, there should be what labor protection, better wages, better working environment, and what better facilities should be created. That is sustainable development goal, SDG. Now, inclusive economic growth, it should not be just based on what service sectors, lesser focus on the manufacturing or least on agriculture. There has to be what proper structural balance in the economy, leading to inclusive economic growth, where the different type of workers, whether skilled or the semi-skilled or unskilled, are getting the benefits. So inclusive economic growth, focusing on structural balance of all the three sectors: agriculture, manufacturing and services. And yes, this should not be sustained. Crony capitalism, a big no. Further, industry, innovation and infrastructure is goal number 9. So we are now moving towards fourth industrial stage. Here there is a more influx of technology, AI, automation. That means there are various sectors functioning. Each and every sector are not able to adjust with the advancement of technology. We have to make them adjusted with the requirement of technology so that they accept the technology on their own and finally become the part of more technology driven and digital economy. So fourth industrial revolution, how this to be sustained? By making all these sectors ready to ultimately become a part of this industrial revolution. So adjustment and making sectors ready to adapt with technology. This is the sustainable development goal. Now further, innovations. Now we all know innovations are the key determinant of economic well-being and social welfare. Innovations always reduce human efforts. Innovations multiply production, increase the potential to earn. Better earnings bring economic well-being and money always brings social welfare. When I talk about grassroots innovations, they are required to be tapped because they are very cost effective and very environment friendly. They are to be what tapped, improved and included in the production chain, because we have to shift from what fossil fuel economy to a greener economy, and India has set a target to achieve net zero by 2070. So promotion of innovations, identification of innovations, improvement of innovations and inclusion of innovations are sustainable development goals. Economic and social infrastructure. When we talk about infrastructure, it's not just economic infrastructure but also social infrastructure. Economic infrastructure like roads, bridges, highways, logistic parks definitely improve the economic prospects of the country, as benefit various sectors. But we should also be focusing on improving social infrastructure, which improves the quality of life. That is sustainable development goal. Now let's talk about goal number 10, reduced inequalities. We have to reduce inequalities of all the types. Even our constitution talks about what type of justice we have to promote: political, economic and social. So we have to reduce political injustice, economic injustice and social injustice. So what has to be sustained and improved? What's sustained and improved? Political justice, economic justice and social justice, thus reducing the inequalities within our country. Hence, what we should be eliminating: discrimination either based on gender, caste, race, abilities, even regional differences or international inequalities. Now, when we talk about international inequalities, let's understand this. If there is a poverty in Africa, there is a forced migration from Africa to prosperous Europe. If there is a poverty in Central America, there is a forced migration from Central America to United States. So if there are more inequalities in development across the world, that means that has to be reduced. Otherwise, they are going to create problem even for the prosperous regions of the world. So prosperous regions have got a major stake in what promoting equality of development across the world. They should be investing more because they became prosperous by extending the resources during the colonial period. So now next is the goal number 11. So goal number 11 is sustainable cities and communities. So what should be the focus area? What are the sustainable development goals here? Is the creation of smart cities and smart villages. Now smart cities, what is the meaning of smart city? Smart city does not mean few glassy buildings or maybe Wi-Fi. Smart city simply means if you are walking on the road along with your friend It's late in the evening, it's about to get dark, and suddenly your friend disappears. Your friend was not a ghost. Your friend just disappears because there was an open manhole. He went down or she went down. Yes. So that means even a manhole cover makes a city smart. That means all the services from basic to advanced make city smart. Inclusive education, better health system, public transport system, okay, focus on green energy, reduction of pollution. All these make city very smart, and definitely smart people who are abiding with rules and regulations, following laws, are more disciplined. That ultimately creates smart cities. Similarly, when we talk about smart villages, how the smart villages are being created? Smart villages are being created by increasing incomes in rural areas, doubling farmers' income, tripling farmers' income, or generating incomes from what non-farming activities. So rural areas should be having income flow, more employment opportunities. Rural areas should be water sufficient, energy sufficient. If the villages are smart, then the cities will become smart. If the villages are not smart, they will force more migrants to the cities, and the cities will not become smart. So the sustainable development goals are smart cities and smart villages, but smart villages form the basis for smart cities. Next, goal number 12, responsible consumption and production. We are living on a planet which has got limited resources. So we should not be ending work consuming every possible thing, because we are going to destroy ourselves as fast as possible. And what about the future generations? So how they will survive? So that means what voracious consumption or greedy consumption is not sustainable. So let's start with a quote. Mahatma Gandhi stated, "This is enough for everybody's need and not for everybody's greed." So what is the lifestyle we need to promote? Yes, the lifestyle that we need to promote is life, that is lifestyle for environment. This can be converted to a sustainable goal. Now, how this to be done? We have to change the production patterns, consumption patterns. We have to bring more awareness among the people. We should focusing on what 4 R's, where the people are willingly follow those 4 R's, that is refuse, reduce, reuse, and recycle. That will be creating a scenario of what maybe future continuity and what safeguarding the planet and also maintaining the sustainable consumption levels. Now let's talk about the next goal. Goal number 13, climate action. So climate action, so humanity became conscious about climate actions, definitely majorly from Rio summit. Then we talk about Kyoto Protocol or the Paris Climate Agreement and regular COPs. So we are concerned about our planet, hence there are regular conferences. So that means sustained actions are required. Sustained actions are required to achieve the goals of safeguarding the planet from the rise in temperature. 1.5 degree is the target, yes, but maybe below 2 degree can be acceptable and manageable. So that is a sustainable development goal by the year 2100. So this is a sustainable development goal. Next are the organizations which should be what issuing the guidelines regularly. United Nations Environment Program is definitely setting the guidelines for the world so that they carry on forward on the right path. Global Environment Facility tend to fund or provide funds to the developing countries to get adjusted with respect to the production requirement as per the requirement of what dealing with climate change. So that has to be sustained. Now goal number 14 is life below water. We should be taking care of species which are the part of the life below water. Science, there is an organization IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, which focuses on what that we should be eliminating extinction of species. Species diversities have to be maintained everywhere, whether below land or on water. Hence comes marine protective areas become very important. So which are the marine protective areas in India? You are going to do a Google search, find and create a map for that. Life on land, again IUCN comes into picture. And what we are creating what? National parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and definitely Ramsar sites. So all these are required to be sustained. So our biodiversity to be sustained, species to be maintained, hence creating a more equitable earth. Further, all the 15 actions that we're taking so far will only be moving forward when the goal number 16, when the peace is there, when the countries are not fighting, when there's no civil influx or the civil war within the countries, when there's more peace, that means there's more focus on development and more forward-looking actions being taken. If there's what lesser peace, wars are going on, the major focus is just surviving the war. So that's not the thing that we are going to maintain. So hence peace is the requirement. So what is sustainable development goal is peace everywhere. So peace everywhere is the goal. That can be global. So there should not be Russia-Ukraine type of fights or the wars going on. And there should be peace within countries. That has to be sustained. So the major focus should be on what? Applying the SDGs across the world. Next is justice. So justice to the nations. Now how to bring justice to the nations? There are various island countries across the world which are facing the brunt, of what? Climate change. Those island countries are facing the wrath of what? Rising sea levels. Hence, it's the responsibility of richer and prosperous nations to support them. So it means we should be bringing justice to nations across the world. To the people, definitely on the basis of more and more application of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We should be strengthening human rights everywhere, in the communities, within the families, across the countries, globally human rights. That is a sustainable development goal. And now, institutions at all the levels should be strengthened, because until unless institutions are powerful, implementation will become weak. So global institutions are coming within the United Nations organizations. National institutions coming to strengthen the democratic institutions, so the things are implemented properly. And the local level institutions, which in India it can be Panchayati Raj. So institutions at all the levels, whether local level, the national level, the international level, they should be made very powerful so that all these goals are being implemented. All these goals are being made sustainable. And finally, goal number 17, partnership for all the goals. That means how we improve. See, everywhere there's a partnership. When you talk about team sport, in team sports, everywhere there's a partnership, collaboration, cooperation. That the team achieve results. So partnership is a way of what? Channelizing the different opinions and ideas, and finally bringing people together, creating a holistic approach, creating a teamwork, and all these improve the implementation part. It's required at what? Local self-government level, that is a panchayat level, panchayat and gram sabha, they should be a partnership. Panchayat and adjoining panchayat, they should be partnership. Panchayat with the district bodies, they should be partnership. District and district, state and state, they should be partnership. State and center, cooperative federalism, they should be partnership. And nation to nation, there should be partnership. Because ek akela sab pe bhari can be very dangerous. As we are seeing in Russia, Putin, Xi Jinping in China, and their tendencies in India also. What we should be promoting is more cooperation, more partnership. In India, definitely more cooperative federalism is the way out. Now all these 17 goals are in a very proper sequence. I hope you must have understood how these 17 goals are to be applied across the world. These can be applied through global institutions. So which are the global institutions you should be knowing properly? The global institutions are all of these, the UN agencies. So there is a Food and Agriculture Organization, there is a Health Organization, there is a Labor Organization, there is what? Human Rights Organization, there were Refugee Organization, there is Environment Organization. So there are IMF, which is ultimately going to fund various developments across the world. So we are talking about these institutions which should be shaping the implementation of SDGs across the world. So these institutions should be very powerful, guiding the countries, guiding the communities. How all these can be achieved, how all these SDGs can be achieved within India? Definitely following the guidelines of these agencies, but there is also a guideline that's called Constitution of India. By applying the Constitution of India, we can achieve various SDG guidelines. Because Constitution of India talks about what? Preamble. So preamble talks about justice, liberty, equality, fraternity for all the citizens of the country. In this, the focus is creating all types of justice: social justice, economic justice, political justice. And here SDGs also focus on all these justices. Now similarly, fundamental rights, the way of promoting equalities and reducing inequalities, which is also sustainable development goal. Then come the DPSP, which talks about government should be taking more and more actions and bringing more welfare schemes, programs, social upliftment, economic upliftment, political empowerment, improving governance, improving what environment. All these things are required. Hence, the Constitution of India is directly linked with what SDGs. Then how these should be improved? There should be more collaboration. There should be more partnership. Center-state relations should be better. There should be autonomous institutions which are ultimately doing their duties and work without any pulls and pressure from the ruling party in power or the government in power. Autonomous institutions are required. And yes, local self-government, that means grassroots governance has to be improved. So even the Constitution of India, the features there can be directly connected with sustainable development goals. So globally, the UN agencies are guiding the countries to implement SDGs, and within our country is the Constitution of India, which is again indicating us how to apply all those sustainable development goals to the ruling parties in power, whether state or the center. But see, anything improves when there is active participation between state and non-state actors, that is the common people. So how to impart the message of sustainable development goals to the people at large? Let's see the students in our schools. Students, for example, 26 crore students are enrolled in schools and 4 crore in higher education. So there's a pool of about 30 crore students in our country, and these are going to become the change makers in future. But for them, the future has to be safeguarded. So who will be safeguarding their future more? These children themselves, the students themselves. So best way of imparting sustainable development goals in terms of attitudes, actions and implementation is targeting the education system in our country, which should be more broad-based. So hence, the best way of achieving SDGs are through multidisciplinary education. So need is multidisciplinary education connecting with around 30 crore student population in our country. Hence, they can become drivers towards sustainability in future. So education becomes most important thing. So I hope you have liked this video, understood all these 17 development goals created for the world, even for our country to be implemented, as these can be imparted through a more widened form of multidisciplinary education system. So my next video will be on what national education policy and how it should be implemented in terms of multidisciplinary approach. So if you have liked the video, then see the video again, understand and see the relationship between all the goals. Share the video and definitely subscribe our channel. I will keep on coming with more videos regularly. So remember, next video is on education system, that is national education policy and its implementation. So thank you for seeing the video. Thank you again.